Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Hope you're having a great day as we continue to celebrate so many amazing people across the great state of Mississippi who are working so hard to make this such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, listen, I just want to thank you for listening to the show. Some people are listening on Facebook or YouTube or your favorite podcast. As I often say on the show, radio's still king. And I'm thrilled to have so many terrific supporters and listeners. The feedback continues to be really, really good. And I can't thank you enough, because the reason I'm here is to make a difference. In retirement, I can absolutely assure you I would not be here if I didn't think I could make a difference. If I didn't think the issues that I talk about and write about and the passion that I bring to the conversation, if it didn't result in creating sort of a community conversation, I wouldn't be here. I would just be enjoying cutting my yard and fishing and spending time up in the Mississippi Delta, and that's where I'd be. But what keeps me going is the people who are engaged in the show. The number of people who are engaged in the show is really incredible. And when you have listeners, when you have people who are engaged in these discussions, what it means is that when we talk about issues, we can create a bit of a ripple effect around them. And that's one of the reasons I'm here. So look, one of the things that I have repeatedly said over the past 5 years, I started talking about it big time when I became publisher of the Sun Herald back in 2001. And that is the important role that leadership plays in coastal Mississippi. Leaders of all walks of life, people who are in the trenches that are doing amazing things. We don't even know who they are. They're just doing it. They're not looking for any kind of recognition. Leaders that are leading some of our most important organizations. It could be United Way or a Rotary Club or the Gulf Coast Business Council or any number of other organizations. These leaders are critical. They're volunteer leaders. They're giving back to the community. And one of the things that I've always felt strongly about, it's one of the reasons we started the Sun Herald Leadership Awards that have evolved into the One Coast Awards back when I was publisher of the Sun Herald, is the fact that we get an opportunity to hold these people up, the top 10 under 40, and then, of course, the community leaders, top 10 community leaders, hold them up as examples for others to follow. We want people to look at them and be able to understand what it is that they're doing that brought that recognition. And while the recognition is great, what we really want is for the winners to inspire others to want to give back to their community in very substantial ways. So that's one of the reasons we talk about a lot about leadership on this program. I had Adele on the program in the last few days, and Adele Lyons from the Coast Chamber, and we actually went through the list of all the winners this year. I'm so proud of them. And one of the things that was notable, in fact, was there are a lot of people on the list that I don't know. And even though I'm engaged in this show, we've done over 1,400 conversations since I started this show over 5 years ago. There's still a lot of people emerging and new names. And I think that's great, man. New blood coming to the conversation. It is really great. The more we focus on leadership, I think the stronger our community is going to be. You can never have enough great leaders. And so today, the first part of the show today, we're going to spend a little bit of time focusing on one of the One Coast Award winners, somebody that I actually met back when I did a speech for some high school students many, many, many years ago. I won't say how long ago, but my son, Justin Jordan, was at the same age as her. He was in the same leadership class, but I'm speaking now, and I want to welcome to the show my friend Jennifer Cain, who is president of Generations Healthcare here in coastal Mississippi. Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
So you and I have a tendency to run into each other when I give speeches. First, as I don't know what grade you were in back then. Do you even remember?
Ninth grade. It was Biloxi Junior Leadership. Ninth grade. And
yes. It's so interesting because I remembered you. I remembered that group, in fact, because I left there thinking, man, if we have more young people like this going forward, I mean, you still had your high school years ahead of you, et cetera. We're going to be in good shape. And then I most recently gave a speech with Jamie Miller from the from the Business Council to Leadership Gulf Coast, and you were in that class. So
Yes, I was
it's
as
amazing
well.
how fast time flies, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot's happened in those many years, and we've had a lot of change on the coast as well.
We sure have. Listen, let's take a step back for a second. I just want people to get to know you a little bit better. You grew up here, right?
I'm born and raised in Biloxi. I've grown up here my entire life. I love the coast. I love being here and everything it has to offer. It's a great place to be.
So how did you end up getting involved in healthcare? Tell us more about Generations Healthcare.
Sure. So I grew up in this industry. My father was Connor Cain. He passed away when I was 19, but he was a pioneer in the nursing home industry. Very distinguished man that worked very hard to give to other people as well. And my mom took over running these businesses after he passed away, and I followed in both of their footsteps, trying to continue that legacy. But with Generations, we operate long-term care facilities, skilled nursing, senior living communities, and it's a very difficult business, but it's a very important one. I asked my father many years ago why he did it, and he said it was the best way I knew how to help people.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer, it's interesting. I knew your dad and his reputation as a solid entrepreneur, what he did to grow that business over so many years.
Sure.
I mean, he was really kind of a quintessential entrepreneur, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Very level-headed, very kind, but very driven and valued loyalty. And he always made sure to try to be as ethical and do the right thing. And that was something that was just, people really still talk about to this day, who he was and how he was a cornerstone of this industry. And I'm very, very proud to continue his legacy and for him to have been my father.
Well, listen, my mother passed away a couple of years ago, and toward the end of it, we were fortunate that she was bright as she always was until her last breath. She's just an amazing woman, very inspirational. But toward the end of her life, we had to think about, what are we going to do? Now, the good news is we had a terrific family, and my one of my sisters kind of stepped up, and Mom moved in with her for a period of time. But there was a time there that we were contemplating long-term care. Every family faces this. I mean, you're in the business of helping people solve that challenge, but it's just a difficult transition that most families have to consider at some point, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I believe first and foremost, I'm here to guide them through that. So no one has to deal, especially with a nursing home, until it's an immediate need. And it's very scary for people. Why would you want to think about that before you need to? It's not an enjoyable thought process. So my job is to help navigate them through that scary time. It's a very niche market that I try very hard to know as much as I can about in order to be a resource for them, whether they're coming to live with me or whether it's a friend or family that just needs help through that difficult time. I believe that is my purpose, to help ease that burden and to make them feel like they're doing the right thing for their loved one, because you question yourself so much and you never know what the right decision is. But it's my job to help them to make that.
Yeah, I hear the compassion in that answer. Do you get the opportunity to work kind of shoulder to shoulder with your mother?
I do. She's just across the hall from me in our office. So sometimes we're doing completely different things or at different buildings, and sometimes we're working on a project or initiative side by side together. So it's a really fun working environment for us, and it's really cool to be able to do it together.
Listen, I remember this so well. I had the opportunity I grew up in Bellevue and went through all of my schooling with Roy Anderson. And we were doing a show together, and we were talking about his really incredible past and his success in life and all of that. And I don't remember the exact age, but he seems like he was president of Roy Anderson Construction when he was in his 30s. And I made a big deal out of it. I said, that's really incredible when you consider what Roy Anderson Construction ended up becoming, et cetera.
Yeah.
And he said, and he quickly said, he said, Ricky, but let me be clear. Dad's office was right across the hall. And it was literally 10 steps from me. And, the safety net was present. But I always respected the way that he mentioned that so quickly. I think there's a lot of humility in that too. The fact that he did achieve great success in this family business, but he was very, very quick to point out the legacy that his father had created in him. And you've had that same opportunity, haven't you?
Excuse me, sorry. Yes, absolutely. So I get to learn from the best every single day. I get to run ideas past her. I get to make sure I feel like I'm doing the right thing from somebody that has so many more years of experience than I do. And that I'm very fortunate in that aspect. It makes things a little less scary, especially in an industry where you're always concerned about which step you're going to make sure you're doing the right thing. But her being right there next to me makes it much easier and makes you feel like you really have that united front and that support system making those difficult decisions.
That is so darn important. Listen, when we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Jennifer Cain. Interested in learning about her volunteer activities. And then I want to circle back to Leadership Gulf Coast and the kind of conversations that are going on with the young leaders these days about the future of the coast. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. We're visiting today with one of the One Coast Award winners, Jennifer Cain. She's president of Generations Healthcare. And I've had the pleasure of knowing her for a number of years and have encountered her in various leadership programs. The first when she was in the 9th grade. Is that right, Jennifer? 9th grade? Is that? Yeah. And then most recently with Leadership Gulf Coast. And we'll circle back about Leadership Gulf Coast here in just a second. But Jennifer, you've been active, and I was really impressed to see your leadership role in Rotary. You've obviously been involved in United Way as well. You've had other things that you've been involved with along the way, but kind of tell us, aren't you the incoming chairman for Rotary?
Yes. So I am the president-elect, and so I get to just be a part of the really big decisions that make an impact, especially in Ocean Springs, which is where our club is at. And we do a lot of wonderful service work. We raise a lot of money. Today is actually one of our meetings, and we are about to host all of our scholarship winners at both from St. Martin and Ocean Springs High School. And a huge portion of the money we raise throughout the year goes to scholarships for them. And I value education as one of the most important things because nobody can take that away from you. And I'm so excited to be able to be with them today and hear from them.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's interesting. Rotary clubs, I've had the opportunity during my career to have newspapers in 5 different states report to me. So I've spent time in those communities. And from time to time, even in those communities, I had a chance to speak to the local communities. And usually it was a Rotary Club or something like that. I mean, like some of these Rotary clubs in America have almost like auditoriums. They're so successful and big, and you know what I mean? I mean, just really an opportunity for leaders to be able to get together. Some in small communities, they'll meet at a restaurant somewhere, but wherever you go, it's a great opportunity to kind of get a sense of the community because of who's involved. One of the things I've noticed over the years, used to when I would do Rotary Club meetings, I can think back, 20 years, maybe further back, where you would rarely see a woman at a Rotary Club. And today it's kind of normal.
Absolutely.
That's great to see, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And also it's shifting with the demographic as well. We're a much younger club than the average. And I just recently got to go to president-elect training up in Natchez. And that was a big topic of conversation, how Rotary needs to shift and have new demographics in it in order to really reach people on the level that we are today. And so I'm really excited that we're a club that keeps growing. We're a club that has a variety of different ages and genders within that club. And it's wonderful to see. And we really embrace that.
Yeah, I think that is really cool. I think, whether it's a Rotary Club where you really get to see hyper community involvement, a lot of collaboration, a lot of discussions about what's going on in the community. It's a great way to stay in touch with what's happening. There are other organizations similar to that. Then you go to something like United Way, where you get to see more of a broader view of what the needs are. And one of the things I often say about nonprofits and anyone who's volunteering their time is that you can have 100 United Ways, and there's still going to be gaps in the community because there are limited funds. And so we can never have enough volunteers who are willing to step up and fill gaps and whatever. But for me, United Way I was always deeply engaged in United Way for my entire career, for a matter of fact. And one of the reasons was that you could really get a good view of what the challenges are in our community. And while there are limited funds and by doing outcomes based approach to giving, et cetera, it made them much more effective, but also made them more targeted in how they were going to give their money out over the years. But there's no better way to kind of see what the challenges are than to be involved in United Way, is there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so honored to be on the board and under Kathy Springer's leadership as CEO. And she tells everyone, including us and anybody she speaks to, if you want to know what's going on in the community, come answer the phone at United Way. You'll know immediately. I mean, we also just went and did our community impact grant visits. So the people that apply for our community impact grants, there's a group of different leaders throughout the community, whether it's on the board or someone else. And we go out and we really visit these places. We get to see what they do. And for me, that was one of the most rewarding experiences I've personally had on the board, where I get to go and see what's happening in our community and see the organizations that are making a difference and that are feeding the people and filling the needs and those gaps that you're just mentioning. And we just only can hope that there are more people out there that are willing to do that kind of work.
I will not say how long I have worked or been involved with Kathy Springer over all these years. Yeah. But what it reminds me of, hearing her name, what it reminds me of is she's been on this show. I worked with her in the community for a long time. But to have the institutional knowledge of someone like Kathy, who's seen this evolution of the Gulf Coast and the needs, man, it's a gem of an opportunity to have someone like that on your team, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I look to her as a mentor. I think she's a force. She has the ability to be elegant and eloquent while still asking for money and raising awareness. And I think that's such a special talent that I get to watch her do.
It's very cool. Leadership Gulf Coast, what a great opportunity to kind of see how the economic pieces fit together and the importance of leadership on a regional scale, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so honored to be a part of this year's class and get to see people that I may not have met in other areas, everyone that lives from Bay St. Louis all the way to Ocean Springs. And it also shows the importance of that collaborative effort in order to be this economic powerhouse in the state of Mississippi that I know we can be. When we really bind together, I believe in that one coast mentality. I mean, the things that we can do for this coast are enormous.
Well, see, I'll tell you, and if you haven't read, I would encourage not just Jennifer, but the community as well, to go to supertalk.fm and go to opinions and read the most recent 3 columns that I've written about the future of coastal Mississippi. But after I left giving the speech to you guys, Jennifer, at this year's class, it hit me that I want to put in words essentially what I said to the class, and that is that we've done extremely well. 87,000 jobs in government, which is military status, shipbuilding, and gaming. What a great thriving economic engine. 15% of the population, 25% of the state's revenue. But we need to raise the bar higher. We need to diversify this economy. We need to continue to be a force to be reckoned with. And I decided to go on a bit of a mission, and I've written about it in great detail since then. But it was kind of the inspiration of having the opportunity to speak to you guys, because you got a whole new group of leaders coming up. The more new blood we have at the table, the more we can challenge some of our conventional thinking. I mean, that's really important, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Times are evolving, times are changing, and we have to adapt with those changes and evolve too. We cannot stay stagnant in where we are. While I appreciate our historical culture and the things that we have done in the past that make us as unique as we are, we still have to adapt to where we are and continue to push the needle forward to something new, bigger and greater in order to keep up. Because I'm from Mississippi, and I hate when I go travel somewhere and people give you that head tilt that everyone knows, oh, you're from there. No, I am so proud to be from where I'm from, and the rest of the world needs to know who we are and that we are not backwards. We are intelligent, driven people that can provide such a great quality of life here as well. And I want to challenge that to the rest of the country and the world and to show who we really are. But it takes leadership, and it takes new blood, and it takes people that want that type of vision to come to reality.
Yeah, I can't agree more. When I worked on the governor's commission with Haley Barbour, I was so fortunate to have to be able to sit next to Governor Winter many times, and we talked about the evolution of Mississippi. I have to say this, that we Mississippians carry a burden with us when we travel outside the state, those of us that did travel outside the state. And the burden is to dispel myths that people have about us. Because the truth is, when people come here from outside, a lot of the military, in fact, lots of doctors I've interviewed recently on my show that from all over the United States went to the best schools in the world. And they chose to live in coastal Mississippi because what they saw here in our heart and soul and the hospitality, our grit, our resilience, they fell in love with. And they didn't see any of this racial division that defined our history. In a lot of respects, since a lot of that did play out in Mississippi, we came to grips with that in a very significant way. I think about it often when I'm in the Mississippi Delta and love just engaging people and being with people. What a wonderful state we live in. Jennifer, I can't tell you how proud I am for you winning the One Coast Award. But at the end of the day, it's the challenge now is for you to live up to the recognition and continue to set an example for others so that we have more leaders. Again, we can never have enough leaders, can we?
Never. Leadership. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership, and I firmly believe that.
Boy, that's a really good one to end on. We've been spending time with Jennifer Cain. Probably should have spent an hour with her. She's the president of Generations Healthcare. And someone just, I've literally watched her grow up. And, now she's running her family business and they're making a big mark on the community and they're able to give back to the community in significant ways. And I look forward to watching her as time goes on, as she continues to evolve and to contribute on a larger scale. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you so very much. Bye.
It's been a pleasure.